Hey everybody, it's ProbablyRed. Today we're back with the Eternal Beginner Deck Starter Series, and we're gonna do Shadow. Alright, so we got, I didn't do the same thing I did with the Fire. I didn't do like market cards. I don't build as many Shadow decks. I might note a couple of cards that I would potentially run. There is a couple cards that aren't like maxed out as far as like as number of cards that I'm using. For example, Direwood Prowler, and they're not like rares. They're just like cards I don't think are necessary to have a playset of. So if you don't have, okay, so I'm gonna go through the rares real quick. Cards you might not have, but you should have. I think the game gives them to you. Impending Doom. This is super strong. It's a 4-cost 5/5 flyer. The downside is it pings you for 1 every turn. That's not that big of a deal. The Shadow influence isn't a big deal in this deck either. So just, I mean, the only bad thing about this card is it gets removed almost immediately if your opponent can remove it. And in this deck, you'll see there is some sick synergy with this sweet card. Also, not exactly as ridiculously super pushed as Impending Doom, but still very powerful and in certain situations almost unstoppable. Ashara the Deadshot. If your opponent doesn't have Seer, you're gonna be seeing a tier. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the puns. But 6/3, 5-cost, deadly quick draw. We're gonna get to like the specifics on the cards, but Ashar is another rare that you should have from just playing. There's 2 more I'm going through. This is one of the ones where there's a couple of them in this. Vara Limitless, if you started playing towards, the more recently, then you'll have this Vara. Though the other Vara is strong. I mean, she's so strong that I think she's gotten nerfed. I'd have to check the wiki, but at least once, Vara has been the 8-cost Vara has been nerfed. This Vara is also very good. And just like all the other Scions in this particular lineup, it makes all of your units really good, really good. Gives that +1/+1. Even your Slumbering Stones will be attacking. But yeah, and then the last one of the 4 rares and legendaries in this deck is a Leathereye Falcon. Similar, but I would say probably a bit worse. In some ways, it's a completely different card, but there's a good comparison to draw from Steelfang Chakram. It's a 4 attack weapon. It also has, we'll get into the specifics later. You can see it has lifesteal, so that's a pretty big difference. It can really sustain your game. Anyways, we'll get into that. So those, if you're missing 1 or 2 of those, just throw in some more Direwood Prowlers. They're all pretty high cost stacks, of course. Just craft an Impending Doom. You're gonna want one. Just craft one. But I mean, like, if you don't have a Shard of the Deadshot, I wouldn't craft a Shard of the Deadshot. It's not so required. It's easy to remove. That's okay. Starting at the beginning, 1 cost. So once again, we only have 1/1 drop, even like 1/1 drop unit. There's only 1/1 drop in this entire deck, even, which is a little bit odd because there's a slight sacrifice. There's a little bit of sacrifice synergy, or at least there was. Yeah, there is a little bit. I know I took a couple of sacrifice cards out. You could do a really heavy sacrifice deck, but there's a slight bit of sacrifice synergy in this deck with your Ravenous Thorn Beast and your Direwood Prowlers. Other than that, it's just kind of a defensive card. It's a 1-cost 0/2 Gargoyle. And when it dies, you get to draw a Vengeful Gargoyle. That's a 2/2 flyer with flying. 2/2 for 2 with flying. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, of course it's a flyer with flying. It's flying. Anyways, which is a really well statted flyer. So Slumbering Stone used to be a little bit stronger, but it's still pretty good. Instead of putting it directly to play, it lets you draw that card, and then it gives you something to play on turn 2. Even though there's a lot of 2-drops in this deck, it can be nice on turn 4 to double spell or double unit play. Then we got Darkwest, really similar to Slumbering Stone. Kind of incentivizes your opponent not to attack in. Also, because you're going to be chump blocking their early aggression and getting a card out of it. Other than that, you could turn your Ravenous Thornbeast into just a 3-cost 5/5, similar to a Prism Golem would be when you draw that card. You're not losing anything from that sacrifice. Overall, you are paying more power. It's like similar to a plundery effect. So there's that. Lurking Brute. I was extremely high on this card when it first came out, and though I haven't seen it that often, like played against me, I still feel like under certain conditions this card can be super powerful. The reason I like this card is because if you can get it out on turn 2 and then like you can like they've got a utility 2/1. What's that 2/1 that gives an influence when you play it? And it also gives you +1 maximum power. It's Explorer. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's in time. If they have a utility card that they don't want to block with, or even if they do block with it, you can push for damage while either getting a +1/+1 or getting rid of their utility card. This card's not good against defensive decks, though. It's good against like ramp decks, I would say, because it can trade with something medium to big late in the game if they had a slower or a weaker early game and didn't want to trade off. So the problem with this card is, and it's actually kind of mitigated a tiny bit in this deck. Problem with this card is it's just a 2/2 off the top deck with almost no chance of becoming a 3/3. So you want to get this out early, get that synergy in, or just sacrifice it later, or plunder it into a power to be able to reach your Direwood Prowlers. So yeah, Spirit Weaver. There's your plunder right there. 2-cost 1/3, and this is similar to Might Weaver. You might remember. Instead of double damage, though, it's lifesteal, so not quite the same. I'm gonna say it's better for a sustained attack. That's where this deck differs. There's actually more units in this deck, if I recall correctly. That's where this deck differs, though, because a lot of this stuff's utility creatures. So they play kind of a more spell-like or relic-like role, because they synergize with your other cards than a creature would. But it's still creature heavy because it's sacrifice. So we plunder away that for power, so you have stuff to play constantly, and you also have your other stuff. Having lifesteal and just swinging in with a Prism Golem, pow, and getting all that health back, even if you get chump blocked, it's so much better when you're getting chump blocked than double damages. That's where it shines. So your opponent's playing 2/2s, 1/1s, and you're swinging in with something with 5 attack. You're getting that life back. It gives you a lot more chances to get some stuff going in your late game. Get your removal, get rid of that giant threat that's stopping you from doing the stuff you need to do. Or even top deck just one of your really powerful cards. Buys you some chances for another top deck. Yeah. And of course, most of the cards with Lithari Falcon get the lifesteal, but as you can see, it's kind of an unsynergy because it already has lifesteal on it. So it's a little funny thing. Okay, so kind of a theme of the day with this deck is, I think it's no, not a theme of the day. I think it's only the second card that is this way. It got nerfed. Is basically the short answer there. But I think it's still good. I think it's still very playable. It's a 2-cost, at least in this deck. 2-cost 2/1 because of the sacrifice energy. Okay, I'm going to say the full sentence now. 2-cost 2/1 deadly. Summon your opponent discards the top 2 cards of their deck. That is completely downside for us. If the only thing that it's going to do is if your opponent's running a recursion deck, then they'll get some recursion synergy. If they have anything to do with their void, this is a complete downside. But it's a 2/1 with deadly for 2 that when it dies, it makes a 0/1 that you can sacrifice. You don't want to use its actual pay 1 sack to do its effect again because its effect is terrible. You want to sacrifice it to make a Ravenous Thornbeast big, or to draw a couple cards with Direwood Prowler. But you got to be able to swing in, have this die, and then play one of your sacrifice units. Okay, so now we're moving on to Prism Golem. This card has kind of started to become a little bit ubiquitous in these common and uncommon based decks. kind of grown pretty fond of it in Expedition. It's just kind of insane to have a 3-cost 5/5, and even if they silence it, it just gets bigger. Which why would they want to silence it? Sometimes it happens that way. Like if they just misread it or misunderstand what's going on, it can happen. I think I did it when it first came out, but I think it's a solid card. Ravenous Sword Beast. It wants to be Prism Golem, but you got to sacrifice something first. That's it. It's a pretty simple card. It's very similar to Prism Golem. You can play it as a 3-cost 3/3 though. It just feels a little bit weak when you're playing Prism Golems and the 3/3 Ravenous Thorn Beasts. Impending Doom. I've already touched on the main points of this card. It's a 4-cost 5/5. It's gonna play like a little bit, actually not a little bit, a lot slower feeling of your thundering wings. Yeah, in the fire deck. You're gonna plop it down. It's gonna start pinging you for damage, and then you're gonna swing in with an unstoppable force. It's gonna get removed a lot of the time, so it's basically gonna be you pay 4 to get rid of a removal spell in their hand, and you take a damage to do it. But usually you're only losing a little bit of tempo there. And the potential upside, the ceiling on this thing is potential. You can do sometimes 15 damage with this thing for 4. It's crazy, and it's super good defensive. Your opponents are trying to rush with flyers, and you're just like getting hammered down, and you haven't gotten that Spellweaver out yet, and you need some lifesteal going. You plop down your Impending Doom, you get your Spirit Weaver out, you're blocking flyers. It's just so good. Ashara, the Deadly Quick Draw. Your opponent has to block with, I think it would be 7 3/3s before they can kill this on the block. Of course, they can attack with 1 3/3, and if you block with Ashara, she's dead. So she's an extremely aggressive card at 5. A Seer removes her. Annihilate removes her. There's a lot of ways to get rid of Ashara, but in certain situations, she can feel very demoralizing for your opponent. She definitely has her fit into the deck, and it's just overall a really awesome card. Great 5-cost, and also a great 5-cost, Fear Tracker. 5-cost 5/4 on summon. Fear Tracker deals 3 damage to the enemy player and you gain 3 life. Of note, since this is a 5/4, if you have Spirit Weaver out and you play Fear Tracker, you also gain another 3 health because that damage dealt doesn't count as lifesteal. So you're gaining 6 life, dealing 3 damage on the play. Huge life swing. And then you can start swinging it with 5. If this dies, you have, I think you could say 4 turns basically to decide if you want to do that again. Since it's no longer a 5 attack unit, you won't gain the extra 3 health on the second one. You'll just gain 3 instead of 6. That's pretty much all the, nuances of Fear Tracker. It's an awesome card. 5-cost 5/4 is good. 5-cost 5/4 that slams your opponent with 3 damage, sometimes twice, with some really cool lifesteal synergies. Awesome card. 6-cost 5/5, we got Direwood Prowler. On summon, you can sacrifice another unit to draw 2 cards. This card feels amazing to play. You got your 5/5. You're getting rid of Darkwood, sometimes drawing an extra card, maybe a Slumbering Stone or a Lurking Brute that you played too late and couldn't get through for damage. You're getting rid of a Two-Face that you don't need or that you attacked in with and got the Shade. All this kind of stuff feels great to sacrifice to Direwood Prowler. And then, boom, you're swinging it with the 5/5, blocking in the late game. It's just got a full grip almost, like our half grip of cards. Sometimes 2 or 3 cards. Feels good. Then you go on the draw next turn. You got 4 cards to work with, sometimes 3 cards to work with. You're good to go. You're back into it. Vara Limitless. If you can start attacking with this, not only does she already have lifesteal, so you're not relying on your Spirit Weaver, makes all of your units good. Big tough units after this drops, and then you could start bringing units back. I recommend bringing back a Direwood Prowler or a Fear Tracker because instant value, and it's just great. This is going to feel really powerful, and usually you can survive long enough against aggro to get this out if you can get the power going in the right order. Legendary Falcon is just, if you drop it on anything except for Slumbering Stone, it'll get lifesteal, but it already has lifesteal, which is a funny thing with this card. But if you don't have Spirit Weaver, it can be really nice to just have a big unit with lifesteal. Impending Doom with Leather Falcon is really, really sketchy because either you're going to just decimate your opponent or it's going to get removed and you're getting 2 for 1. It's nice to play it on something with Entomb like the Slumbering Stone or the Dark Wisp that normally wouldn't do much, and then just start hammering your opponent because they're incentivized like, well, I don't want to remove that little thing. They're mainly removing the Leatherite Falcon, and then you're getting a little bit of value back. So it's pretty solid. Annihilate. This is awesome, cheap shadow removal. Destroy those single faction units. Not too much to say about that. I love that it's fast speed, so you can destroy. They play something big and nasty, kill it at the end of their turn. Then you start going about your turn. Devouring Shadow, huge debuff for an opponent. Usually is going to be a removal spell, and it's white. I don't think there's any other. Oh yeah, there's Midnight Hunt. But this is the reason you want those shadow symbols that we're about to talk about. We're not running any other ways of getting shadow influence, but you really only ever need -5, -5, or -6, -6. Sometimes you'll see something bigger than that with a buff or with a weapon, and then like you can just wait a little while and get your shadow influence going, and hopefully get it taken out that way. Midnight Hunt. I talked about these a little earlier. Was in the fire video, I believe, the fire starter deck. How this card I totally underrated it at first because of how like it is so subtly powerful, which is in my opinion a theme of Argent Depths. It's actually a set with a lot of depth to it. The revenge part isn't. It's kind of like just like okay, that's a nice bonus, but just being a fast speed, sometimes +5, sometimes even more than that. Uh, Combat trick with quick draw. It's just super big swing of damage. You can trade up if your opponent like sees that you got a Slumbering Stone and they haven't defended against it in the like later game, and you can sometimes win a match by midnight hunting at not fast speed, just throwing it on your Slumbering Stone and then attacking with it. It can be a pretty surprisingly powerful card. We got our 17 sigils as usual with these mono faction decks. We got our 4 Amethyst Waystones. Now this is a card that is a little bit of do I really want to run this card? So up for your consideration. 1, if you don't have these, just run Shadow Sigils. No reason to craft them. 2, even if you do have them, you might want to consider not running them because it's going to draw your opponent a bunch of cards. And against a deck that is like faster, I would say. It depends on what. I'm not super sure what Nightfall is better against. If it's better against faster decks, slow decks, or decks of the same speed, but you are giving affect your opponent. But it's nice because it does speed up the game in general. I would say it makes the games faster. That's why I run them because I'm on the ladder. I don't really mind having faster paced games. With you fuel your opponent. That's kind of another reason I like the Refracting Sentinels. Just like it's kind of a wonky, silly card. Maybe you're not going to actually want to run it if you're trying to climb quickly, but it's a fascinating card. It's a small decision. One play set of Amethyst Waystone or 4 Shadow Sigils, doesn't matter. And if you don't like how it plays, if you don't like giving your opponent cards, then just don't run it. And then shadow symbols, always excellent, 100% upside, except for the fact that it's depleted. But it's so good that it makes up for the depleted real easily. Let's jump into some games. All right, we're up against Zedicus. Okie dokie. So we got a couple of Annihilates. We got a little removal hand for the Devouring Shadow. We got our Slumbering Zone and a Ravenous Stormbeast. If we get that 3rd Shadow Influence, this thing's going to play out pretty well. It's a lot slower than Fire is. Another reason why I like that Nightfall on the Amethyst Waystones, because it does kind of like make... Oh, up against Shadow. And we did draw a 2-drop, so that's going to smooth this hand out a little bit more. If they don't start playing some early stuff that is just mandatory removed. There's our 3rd Shadow Sigil. That is awesome. We're going to plunder. I'm seeing Mono Shadow. I'm kind of considering just I'm going to skip that. We don't need that plunder right now. All of our cards have purpose, and if they're playing good plays, we're going to want to remove them. And these don't turn into draws, they turn into sigils. We're good, we're good. We might regret that later, but we'll see. Okay, see? I'm totally fine with that. It is kind of disappointing that we're not going to get that lifesteal, but we're going to get the sacrifice, get the 5/5, and this is the real threat. The synergy's nice, but the real threat is the 5/5s themselves. So we're going to suspect they have a backup removal. They might be running almost the exact deck we're running. Ugh. It's a good card, but that's an expensive piece of removal there. We want to get to 6 now. I'm kind of regretting that we didn't get rid of one of these. So let's drop a Dark Wisp and our 2/2 and see if we can kind of outpace our opponents. I am glad our opponent is playing the Waystones because it gave us a little bit of speed up. Alright, so there's number 5, and there's a Fear Tracker. I played that quickly. I forgot I was going to draw some. So they're playing a little... oh no, they played another, I guess. Yeah, they played a second. I was like, what's going on? This card is really nasty later in the game. I haven't really seen... I haven't really played it in Expedition, but it might be worth considering. It could have just as easily been one of the cards I put in the market for consideration. Not to actually market, but to look at. So we'll swing in. Yeah, we'll swing in real quick to see if they block here. Because I can't block it anyway, so... And if it gets to like 4 and I get nervous about it, I can always annihilate it. But right now I want to actually progress the board. Never wait for that lifesteal bonus on Fear Tracker. It's just a nice thing to keep in mind when you're calculating if you're going to survive a big attack from your opponent or not, if you're on the defensive. And if you're like, you want to progress the board, you don't want to wait, especially if you're getting aggroed out. We do get that shade, and we can pay 4 to get a little boost. We can wait pretty much forever. We might even just sacrifice it to the Prowler. So we'll swing for 3 real quick, and then we'll ping him again with Fear Tracker. What really would be bad if they start playing Fear Trackers, because then we're not really, you know, the board is staying static, and then they're hitting us with their life gaining ping, and then we're hitting them, so it's not really doing as much over time. We do want to keep what's going on. Okay. So we are still, like, we draw now, we draw another, what is this at? So we're going to ping them with that. Oh, it's only a 2. Good. It takes a long time to get these online, though, so it is a slower card. So we have a couple of choices here. I think we just want to, no. I shouldn't have played that so early. I guess we'll just get rid of this. I should have attacked first. It was kind of a bit of a misplay. So there's a pretty much a full grip again. And then yeah, I did misplay that a little bit, but now this Midnight Hunt will win us the game unless they gain some life. Or remove our card. So we'll swing and see if they block. And then we'll just go ahead and annihilate. See what they do here. Because we could... Okay. Speedy-doo. I wonder if I kill that, if it'll stop their unit from doing that. So I think they get to play Annihilate now. Yeah, they stole Annihilate. Dang it. That's it. Yeah, Corrupt is a very odd card. Interesting though. I would think it would be a market card, but hey. Okay. So I guess I'll play Two-Face and end turn. Oh, and they played Ashara. Okay. Huh. This is getting out of hand. So now we can swing in for 2 and then surprise them with Midnight Hunt. We'll go this route. Drop that. So we get a Plunder. Swing in for 2. And if they block, we just kill Ashara with for the 2-1, and then we have potential to win next turn. Let's go Midnight Hunt. Well played, Zedicus. Good game. It was cool to see Mono Shadow. And hopefully we've gained some ideas potentially with the Infiltrator. Maybe they gained some ideas playing against us. So that was an interesting battle. Maybe they'll watch the video later and like and subscribe. It'd be awesome. And I would appreciate it if you did the same. Ooh, get that silver. I love the silver upgrade. It's 5 times as good. We're up against Sven Fortin. This hand is completely reliant on drawing another sigil. If we do, it's okay. Got removal, got a little bit of a combat trick, got a good unit or two. But if we don't, we're doomed. Okay. Be cool if we drew another 2-drop. Like a 2-drop. We did draw another 5/5 for 3. This deck seems like it doesn't have a lot of decision points, but actually there's a lot of different interesting things going on, like the lifesteal, the sacrifice synergy, combat tricks, and removal by themselves add a lot of like decision points and make it a really fascinating deck to play. Okay, now that's a good 2-drop. Now they're probably not going to attack because we're just going to block and get another 2/2, which should make our turn 3 not bad, getting a 2/2 flyer out. But we really would rather just draw a sigil. Ooh, Frost. Okay. I'm not particularly fond of Frost. And they pair it up with there's a card called Icebreaker. It is I think it is a 3-cost 0/1 Yeti that you can activate it basically. You can exhaust it, and you can destroy a stun unit. That's pretty interesting with that Frost card. It's just a 1-cost that destroys a stun unit, but it's a spell. So you're using 2 cards kinda to do 1 removal. If you pair a Frost up with 2 of the Shatters, I think is the 1-cost spell's name, then you're getting somewhere. Now we're seeing it, but it's more of a draft strategy, I would say, and a hard one to put together, unless they're like boosted. Then for Expedition deck. If you want to see how I built Primal, check out my Primal beginner deck. Okay, so we got our 2-cost 1/1 that we could sack. And I think just for because we can get that, we can get some card draw and get a double. Will we block if they attack? We need that 3rd power so we can start playing Prism Golems. And if we can sacrifice them, that's great. But this is kind of, we want to play our Prism Golems first and then play this last, because it gives us a chance to build a board of stuff we don't mind sacrificing. This is interesting if they have some relics going on. Because what was I gonna say? If they've got relics going on, Icy Gaze, so that's another stun card. I guess they like the stun mechanic. And if they have some draw discard cards, that could be pretty gnarly. I'm not fond of cards that like do a temporary effect and then they go away. I want them to have an impact on the board state, or draw me cards, or give a permanent buff. This is just like temporarily slowing me down. It's good tempo play, but it has its disadvantages. Okay, so we could do another Dark Wisp action. I do not mind trading that at all. For a 3/1 that might kill one of my big units later, let's go. And if they don't block, I get a 3/3. Awesome. I like that better. And then still hoping we get. We've been lucky with our draws because we've been getting 2-drops. So we run a lot of 2-drops. I think we run 4 playsets of 2-drops, not including removal, like just units. And of course Annihilate. Here, I'll block this because I'm not so inclined to sacrifice this that I'm willing to, because I mean I have another one, but that I'm inclined to miss an opportunity to take out a 3/1. That's the priority, really. And we want to draw cards because that gives us a higher chance of, they might stun this. Might have been their plan. Or they might just remove it with like a lightning strike or something. That would be the good play, in my opinion, over a stun. I like lightning strike enough. I'll run biting winds. Yeah, that's what I ran. Is biting winds over lightning strike. Lightning strike seems like it's better because it's only a 2 cost, and in some decks it is, and in some metas it is. But right now, Expedition, there's Prism Golems, tons of 5/5s. There's 5 attack power synergy, and a lot of cards are, not just 5 attack and then low health. Like a lot of them. Here I'll just take it because I do really think I'm gonna draw a sigil sooner rather than later. Also, I totally noticed I didn't change this or this. I've been changing them for the decks, but I recorded the fire and the shadow back to back, just so you know. And I'm gonna attack first because I messed that up last game. So I'm gonna change that between rounds and we'll get back into the thematic nature. Even though this is kind of a little shadow-esque, Oni can be shadow Oni. The Fallen Oni in particular. And then the Snowman, no. Maybe if I was playing a Primal, but no. So we drew Spirit Weaver. That is great synergy. We'll just throw that out and start gaining some life. Because they have done a good bit of damage to us, honestly. We have been really power screwed. It has been... our opponent only has 3 power as well, so totally... they have totally been affected as well. So we're going to go ahead and plunder, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of, I think our least needed card is Midnight Hunt currently. We would really appreciate having this, and then we can play both of our units that were 2 costs. And then next turn we can drop an Impending Doom and get in there for some damage. I'm glad they still didn't have their biting winds. It gives me a huge life swing. I think the Primal deck, out of all of the beginner decks, doesn't have to be, but is best when built a very specific way. And I think there's 2 or 3 ways you could build the Primal deck, but they're very synergy focused to be strong. I think you could build just like on the ground, as big as you can get stuff, make a mix of relics and yetis, that kind of thing, like they got built. With the second way is stun. I think having stun synergy could really. I think I should have actually Fear Tracker first to get that bonus. I think that would have been more correct. We're going to play Impending Doom, but I mean, if they start removing our stuff, we'd rather than remove our 5/4 that turns into Shade than our 5/5 flyer, especially when they have no board state currently. So the second way I think you can build Primal is Stun and Shatter and Icebreaker, if it's even in the format. If it's on the format, then I don't think it's really good to do the stun thing yet. Let's be a couple stun synergy cards. I think there's like a 4/4 for free or something like that, or that requires a stunned opponent to attack or block. And I think that's pretty solid. And then the third way is flyers. If you're going mono. Well played's been important. I feel like, okay, the reason I mentioned that, real quick as we open up this silver. The reason I mentioned that is because the other 4, I feel like it's a lot more versatile, like cards to be slotted in. When you're building a flying Primal deck, you want those cards. Like exactly, you want everything to be flying, and you only got commons and uncommons to work with, and Primal has the weakest commons and uncommons out of all the factions, I would say. There's good cards in there, but there's also a lot of duds. So you have less of a selection. So you want every single one to synergize with your theme, or just be good enough to carry its own weight in the deck. I think Plunder is better in Primal. It's something you need. And then if you look at the other factions at common and uncommon, and I mean, Fire's rares and legendary you get aren't as amazing as like Shadows. Shadows is pretty solid starting cards that are rare and legendary. I didn't want this hand at all. Redraw. Like there's advantages to each faction, and this is a great hand. Not great, it's good hand. We could want for a 2-drop, but we do have our 3 influence, or our 3 sigils, power, keep, and we have our sacrifice. We've got our sacrificing unit. We got 2 removal spells that are pretty solid, and player turn 1. So Fire is the exact opposite of Primal in that way. The commons and uncommons if you're building an aggressive deck, are extremely potent. Okay, so this kind of makes up for us not having a 2-drop because it's a depleted power. And it synergizes with Devouring Shadow if they play a big unit early. Time, I think it's closer to Primal. Justice is pretty strong, commons and uncommons. And, let's see. Ooh, so we're already speeding up the draws. Did they just make us discard some? They use Var's Choice on us. Dang it. So that kind of messed up our curve there for a bit. We could technically kill our Slumbering Stone to get a 2/2 Gargoyle. I don't think so, though. We'll just kill. They have a lot of cards in hand. We just gave them more. Let's do a little bit more of the Nightfall. And play a 1/1. Yeah, this isn't going as well as I thought. They have a very threatening hand there. Neo Falcon is who our opponent is. I think I already said that. They're in Zenin. Ugh. So we do get to draw a card off of that. Oh no, it's not all of our units. It's all of our units with the same name. I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, so we're about to get a 5/4 out. That'll be good. Our opponent hasn't gotten too crazy on the plays yet. They are 3 factions though, because that is a Feln Vow. Let's go play our Sigil. Kind of a hard choice. Do I want the Fear Tracker or do I want the Impending Doom? I could Midnight Hunt on this to kill this, but I don't think that's good. I'm just gonna play Fear Tracker. And you know what? I don't have any sacrifice outlets. I have plenty of stuff to sacrifice. Huh. It's odd to do that at that exact moment. Because they could have done that when I attacked, but now there's no point in attacking because this won't die. There's really no point in attacking. I'm just losing a board state for cards in hand. Man, our opponent has a grip. That is 7 cards. Holy mackerel. So at the end of each player's turn, card deals 1 damage to them, so it's like kind of the Nightfall effect in that sense. They also are going to gain insane amounts of influence, and it's a flying 6/6. That's got to go. Let's get rid of that now. Yeah, right now. Yeah. Swing out. Yeah, that's got to go. That is an amazing card, but sorry, I just gotta Devouring Shadow it. There's no way I could survive the carve it. That's what removal's for. When you see a 6/6 flyer, that's when you use that. And there's another example, a 5/5 flyer that destroys a card when it comes into play. Good thing, Fear Tracker has a little bit of synergy, so we'll lose all of our spells. I am especially not fond of that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna attack in. If they block our deadly unit, I didn't think they would. So we could get 6 more damage in, but it's too early. Push for a little bit of damage. All we're doing now is pushing for damage. We're going to try to find a way to get rid of as many cards from our hand as possible. play Impending Doom, because we're gonna lose a lot of cards. We're gonna lose our whole hand if they lose their Ikaria. So we want the Ikaria to attack in on us, and we're not gonna block. Oh, there's something we need to kill right now. Wow, they're playing some big units. There goes our health advantage. So kill that, and then chump block this to get a 2/2 in hand. Wow, they are playing some impressive cards. This is an insane battle now. Severn's got to go. Okay, so they have a lot of shower influence. They could, if they midnight hunted, they could just blow us out of the water. So there's our influence. We need to kill Severin. Boom. That was mandatory. It just had to happen. So we're not going to attack in with Two-Face, because they have Piercing Griefs. We cannot mess with that. So we're going to swing in for 5, try to mitigate their health. They're basically, they have a huge amount of health. So we have to wait. We're going to be taking 5. We need to use this Fear Tracker Shade ASAP. We'll see how we're going to do it. Is this... Okay, yeah, they sacrificed that into their turn. Good. I was about to say, no, how did they get permanent Piercing Griefs? I don't think they'll attack with Ikaria this... No, I mean, they can. They have plenty of health. And I hope they do, because it means we get to push for damage. They're going to gain some health. It kind of gives us a choice if we want to block a Piercing Grief. I think we'll just take the 6 damage swing, because we can mitigate some of that with our Fear Tracker. Oh, okay. So they just took a card that they think will synergize well against us, or the best against us from the market, and put 5 copies in the top 20 cards of their deck. No, they put 3. So 4 cards in the top 20 so we don't want to kill this, but we also don't want to take 11 damage going to 8. It's kind of a hard choice, isn't it? We'll take it. Wish we had something with lifesteal. If we draw a Spirit Weaver, we can use the Midnight Hunt to gain a huge chunk of health. We need to use this Shade ASAP. Thank gosh those are gone. If they play another Severin, we might be in a lot of trouble. They have Revenge too, so those are just randomly going to pop up and mess with us. We're in a bit of a pickle. We have one more turn with the Shade. We could always use the chump block that might gain us more than the 3 life that it would gain us. It might gain us like a 4 life from blocking. Really wish we had some lifesteal going on. Let's see what we can do. I didn't really count it, but they got 29 life, so I don't think we got it. So let's just go. Boom. That's 14, 15, 16. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So they'll still have 6 life. Okay, so that makes a little bit easier math. So if they've got removal, it can be pretty bad. This is slow speed. So we'll take 6. We'll go with that. So we'll just see what happens. I think we're pretty close to dead here. That seals the deal. Nope. They didn't kill the Shade. Okay. Well, we'll go to 1. They've got something that deals... I think we're dead. Yeah, we're definitely dead. No, we'll swing out. Well played, Neo Falcon. That was a good game. I think I totally forgot to switch the card backs, unless I already said that this game. Oh, at any cost. That's a good one. 12 damage to the face. That's definitely a card worth considering for Mono Shadow, I would say. Alright, we're up against Mighty Monarch. This is our last match, and as you can see, I did change the card backs in the profile. So, let's see if this is a keeper. We got a Dark Wisp and a Lurking Brute, as well as an Annihilate. Curses, they say. Fear Tracker, Devouring Shadow, and I think it's a keeper. Yeah, we're gonna go for it. We need to draw. This is like the theme of this deck, is we need to draw that third influence. It's always good to have a third influence, though. Spearweaver Plunder will do that for us. We might have to get rid of our good old Fear Tracker, but we can draw big cards at towards the mid to late game. We don't have to worry as long as our early game is strong enough to get us there. So I want to play Lurking Brute ASAP, and then we could worry about Spirit Weaver later, I would say, because we don't have a 3-drop that's like immediately saying play me. You know, and we do have a third influence. We don't even need the Spirit Weaver. We could just, or we could use it to get Fear Tracker, getting rid of a Wisp. We don't have to worry because we don't have sacrifice in here. So we're basically sacrificing the Wisp without investing the influence and drawing a Sigil instead. If you think about it that way. So let's go Waystone. We'll Plunder. Get our Dark Wisp, and then we'll have we could double Annihilate if we have to. If they play 2 good units in one turn that are worth annihilating, so we can get that to a 3/3. Except for, I think this faction combination is called Destruction, Fire, Time, and Shadow. Ooh, 3 cultists exhausted. That could... what is their faction? There are 2 factions. So Annihilate does not annihilate 1/1s like that. Okay, well, it's not the end of the world. Get rid of 2 cultists. Let's see what they do. Probably gonna lose our Spirit Weaver here, but we'll see. I'm assuming that they are assuming we have a trick. And in a way we do with Annihilate. Okay, perfect. Probably best case scenario, if I'm being honest. We're gonna actually get rid of our Annihilate because we have a backup Annihilate. We need that 5th influence because we really want to be playing our Fear Tracker on turn 5. And our Devouring Shadow is not fast, so it can't kill these 1/1s like that. But we're about to gain 6 life. No! No! Vara's choice has been messing me up today. That is that's the second time I've had that played against me to very good effect. It just removed my Fear Tracker before I got to play it. Okay. So that's not that bad. Now we actually do have the trick. If we really wanted to save one of our units, it also would give it lifesteal in addition to quick draw, so that's cool. We would probably save the Lurking Brute. Okay, so they devoured it anyways, that's perfectly fine. This is considered blocked though. So they're definitely doing their best to wait until they have a big enough unit to make this not really good. By continuing to prevent it from dealing damage, which they're spending a lot of resources to make that happen. There's another bit of it's actually a very good card in that situation right there. Outland Sniper. Okay, so let's do Lurking Brute again, and then we need to get rid of those anyways. So if they do double block or something, we can always annihilate. There we go. If all else fails, at least we're getting damage through. They know we have a trick, or at least they sense we do. They don't know that we have 3 removal spells. That's got to go ASAP. In fact, I'll wait. And I'll use Devouring Shadow on it, which just seems like a waste, but really, we have that Annihilate as backup now, and it's fast speed, so we can use it as a trick to get rid of 2 units. So they're going to get their 2/2 flyer. These have done a lot of damage for us this game. So they'll get a 2/2 flyer, which I'm not going to Annihilate it end of turn. I'll just... No, you know what? We'll see, we'll see. We'll see what I do. If they play it, I'll probably Annihilate it. Like that. Sure. Huh. So they didn't play it. Okay, so we got a little 2/1 action here. The question now is, do I even attack? Yeah, I do. Because if we do get that through, that's awesome. And they multi-block, I caught the Midnight Hunt. Alright. Yeah, let's go with Midnight Hunt. A little bit of extra value there. Keep our unit alive. And get rid of their little units, or smaller units, with our small unit. Mysterious Waystone. This could be the card that just totally annihilates us. But we got that Prism Golem action. So we'll be, oh, yeah, we'll A-space. Yeah, fight. As long as we got these Spirit Weepers, we are in good shape. Because that 5 life swing is better than the Mysterious Waystone, in my opinion. If they can start sacrificing stuff like Devour and getting more cards, that's not good. That's very bad for us. But until that time, we are going to be doing a huge amount of life swing with our Prism Golem. Ooh, we got Thorn Beast too. Just got a little bit better. Yeah, so with the Shade, I will get a Thorn Beast. Yep, perfect. I'll go Thorn Beast and then, ooh, what is this? Well, that's very unfortunate. I guess I won't. Honestly, I'll just sacrifice this. And then I can clear with Annihilate. And I still have that synergy. Now they have removed my 1/3. At least they didn't remove my 5/5. I'll destroy that with Annihilate. Yep, that's worth it. 2/2 flyer. That's enough of a problem card to just go ahead and remove now. Okay, so they did get their Devour action. That Mysterious Waystone just got activated. So I need this 5/5 basically at this point to stay alive. Mysterious Waystone's a good card, but it's a little bit heavier into the sacrifice energy because it doesn't sacrifice and it can't be sacrificed, so it is only a synergy piece. You have to have a ton of sacrifice going on. You have to have a bunch of outlets, and you have to have a bunch of good sacrifice targets. Waking Gorger is I would say an even more extreme version of that. It is an outlet that you have to keep sacrificing to, but can we win? No. That's permanent. Don't make that a 2/2. Let's just deck. So it did gain some life. They're going to get a bunch of life off the Mysterious Waystone. That's what we're kind of trying to race with the 5/5. 4/4. Oh no. It is a 4/4. Which means that No more lifesteal unless I Midnight Hunt now. But that means whatever I Midnight Hunt will gain that bonus. So I don't mind that trading there. Let's just wait. No, we can keep our unit. Is it worth it? Is that more worth it? I think it is. It's a huge life swing. Now if they annihilate. Let's see what they got. Because they have 12 health. They could definitely find a way out of this. And a +7. We'll give it to this. Swing in. Minimum amount of damage is 6. We'll get a 2/2. We put the Midnight Hunter in our weakest unit because we wanted no matter what they blocked, we wanted to deal the maximum amount of damage. That's what I meant by, like, I was mentioning the minimum damage. So we'll save this for, because we don't have any 5 attack units right now. We'll just swing him. We already have a Spirit Weaver out, and we want to plunder Sigil away so that we can draw a card. Because we have 8 power and no cards in hand pretty much. And 1 damage extra is not worth it. We have 33 health, so the Waystone isn't going fast enough to kill us. If it had like 8, we'd be fine. Well played, Mighty Monarch. Good game. So that's it, everybody. Let me go ahead and go to the deck to do a wrap up, basically. Final thoughts. If you liked the video, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe. I really appreciate you watching this video. I've been loving all the positive support that you've been giving me on YouTube and Reddit, of course. So that's been nice. I don't know why I just clicked the cards button to go to the Shadow Starter, but I don't know what I'm doing on the screen. Anyways, so this deck is really fun. The Amethyst Waystone's given that little bit of a speed boost just to the whole pace of the game is really good. It didn't really have much of a disadvantage that I could see in these games. So it was worth running for me. And the deck doesn't feel like a starter deck. It's a little bit more simple than most Shadow decks, I would say, because it's like the main thing about Prism Golem and Ravenous Thornbeast and even Impending Doom are that they get, and to some extent Lurking Brute, but not really, and Dark Wisp, like all these cards that are kind of vanilla, like they don't have a lot of stuff that's going on with them, is they can make the deck feel kind of one note in some ways, but there's so much cards that work with those cards, like the Sacrifice Energy with Dark Wisp, the removal to get Lurking Brute through, the Spirit Weaver to get your Ravenous Thornbeast and Prism Golems into Lifesteal Giants. It all just adds to make a very flavorful, fun experience. And this is, I would say, a very good reflection of what Shadow is. When you mix it with other factions, it can take a whole nother route, but that route is explored in a way in this deck with the Sacrifice Energy if you go to the Destruction route like we saw. Also, if you're going for a more aggressive route with your Ravenous Thornbeast style units, your Lurking Brutes, and then like you're going for a Stone Scarry build. If you're going for just giant, strong units like Impending Doom, and like I said, Prism Golem, but as far as like the Shar, the Dead Shots, your Fear Trackers, and you're having like a Shadow mid-range, you could go Zen in with it. Or Feln, to some extent. It gives you that taste of removal that's just so powerful. You're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this in any other faction. That is Shadow. So that's why, and we didn't see Vara. In some of the other lists, our Scions did make a appearance. Vara didn't this time around, but if you play enough games, she will show up and she will be very impactful in the game. So it'll be great. I hope you enjoyed the deck list, especially after the celebration. I think by the time this video comes out, the celebration will be over. So you might have like that kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, I could choose any card. and now I'm more limited. Well, this will be your list to be able to go to and be like, well, I want to play Shadow like I was playing, but this will still make you feel like you have a chance on the ladder. You're so powerful, and the ladder lets you build up slowly over time, like the like Eternal. Basically, that's how it works. And you actually build a collection pretty quickly. You don't notice at first, but like you look back and like, wow, I have 47% of the rares of the set already, and it's only been so far into the season, or so far into this the set. Plus, we got a new set coming up. And there's promos every month. There's all kinds of stuff always going on. Fun stuff to look forward to, and I'm super excited for it. So stay tuned and enjoy. Take it easy.